Hao Shang Hao. Gracias a Dios por otro día. Tibi gracias algo procura. Me observisi pia kratahon. Thanks for tuning in. I value my viewers and I care about your well-being. I'm going to speak openly about life, but I don't mean the details of your personal life or your private life. Discuss life on the planet. We all have all life on the planet. None of us are the only life on the planet. And in order to maintain a peaceful environment here for future generations, as well as for the current generations, we must maintain a peaceful perspective towards ourselves and therefore towards others. I believe that is intuitionally understood by the majority in 2022. Thank you for taking this journey with me this morning. It's really important that as a human being, you personally focus your energy on balancing your own requirements as a human being. And that is your mental, physical, and spiritual health. Animals and plants have physical and mental health, but they do not require spiritual health. They also don't generally have to worry about making wrong choices with their physical or mental health because they don't have conscious choice. So whatever it is they do, it's just what they're programmed to do. Just going to do that. So animals still have mental health without ranting about that for too long. If you have a dog in your home, thank you for inviting a dog into your home. I hope you are a conscious pet owner. The dog is depending on you. However, that dog very much so has a mental health that's based on a dog's requirements. So you can see how if a dog is on a leash, say chained to the house, because that's the situation the owner has, versus a dog that has a fair sized yard that's fenced in that they can run around in. Well, you could see that both owners are taking care of their dogs and getting them out. But in context of the conversation, the dog that is running freely in the backyard that's fenced in is going to have a better mental health than a dog that is in a situation where they have to be stuck to the house. But it is the situation, and it's not super damaging necessarily, but it can be. So if you're a dog owner, you have to be aware of how long your dog is out and the weather while your dog is out. The dog is also depending on your shelter as their shelter, right? But regardless, I digress. You could see how that dog would have a mental health, and you can apply that to other animals in their own way. However, dogs are domestic, so I'm open to the concept of them having a different degree of intelligence regarding all of that. Now, plants. We don't think of plants as having a mental health because they don't have a brain. There are lots of studies that suggest playing good music and speaking nicely to plants and giving them love in that way can help the development of the plant. I also feel like it would be fair to say If, say, there was a large fire and some grass was getting hot, getting ready to burn, not really mentally, like a mental health, but the grass would feel the heat regardless. It feels when it is dehydrated, just like a human. And if it doesn't get water, it can shrivel up. I'm sure that that would have some kind of feeling to that plant. But again, not in the same intellectual way as maybe we perceive it as humans. But I do believe that the plants benefit from being in positive, loving environments, just like humans. So although the mental health of the plants is a bit of a stretch, you could definitely see how it could probably relate over. But then again, they all pale in comparison to the responsibility of mental health as a human being. If you feel like you could use a mature discussion about mental health, I have posted a video about self-sustaining mental health. Check it out. Do a similar thing as I generally request, where you remain open while you hear the discussion and then try to apply it to your own in a way that you feel could be helpful to you. I'm not you, and if you have mental issues, they're not the same mental issues I went through. My mental health was not always good, but it is now. So you have to be attentive to your own mental health as a human being. Since we have conscious choice, a very crucial element to your mental health as a human being is honesty. It's the most important thing to your mental health because you have conscious choice. So you can consciously be honest or you can consciously be dishonest. And if you're compulsively dishonest, you have a lying issue. You can lie a little bit, and it's generally the nature of life on the planet at this point. You really need to be careful to the degree at which you use the lie, because it can be very damaging, and it is. But regardless, we can consciously be honest or we can consciously be dishonest, and a bear is not going to have that same option. A bear is not going to lie about anything. So now some animals use hiding and stuff, which can be a little bit deceitful, but in that way, they're just surviving. It's just life. Life gets harsh. So you could see how, as a human being, you have conscious choice, and your own honesty to yourself is crucial to your own mental health. All of the humans in your life are going to give you a mental diagnosis, and there's nothing you can do about that. That's just part of being around other humans. And you need to be able to be honest with the evaluations you get from people. Sometimes they're telling you things you need to change, and they're right. People tell me things that I should change, and if I don't like it, but I know they're right, it doesn't feel comfortable to me. I still have to accept it if that's something that I need to take seriously. I'm not exempt from any of these things that I explain. So you also have to be able to properly assess the source of your mental evaluation. If it's not somebody that you would generally trust, then their mental evaluation should be void to you. Because if you don't trust them, but you take their mental diagnosis to a great degree, well, that could be very damaging to the quality of your life if they don't have anything nice to say to you. So, without ranting too much about it, your mental health as a human being, I believe you will understand intuitionally and intelligently everything I just said. Please be honest with yourself and others. You also have a physical health. I think this one is very obviously linked to all life, even to the plants. They have a physical life, obviously. They have physical requirements from nature, just like everything. And there's no stretching any kind of imaginations in reference to the physical health of all the life on the planet in its own degree of life. That is because we are in a physical reality. And in this physical reality, we all have physical requirements for vital health because it's nature. And we're all one in that way. However, since we have the third degree of personal health, which is our spiritual health, well, that separates us and gives us a little more responsibility on the planet because it offers us a greater degree of influence of life on the planet. It's very important that we as humans do not abort on our spiritual health and our spiritual understandings. Since the animal does not have conscious choice, it also has no need for a spiritual health or a spiritual understanding. But humans do. And we do. I think it's very common for some humans to hear perspectives on spirituality that don't agree with them and then just ditch the concept altogether. I do understand. I have had some time away from understanding the energy is there and that God exists. And I'm not judging you. I do encourage you to be open to your own spirituality. There are a lot of beliefs on the planet. Some are organized religions, some are individual spiritualities. And you may not have heard them all, you may have heard them all, but if they resonate with you, hold on to them. If they don't, let them go. But don't let go of your spirituality as a human, because that is when you start developing lying issues and eating issues and physical health issues because you get lost. What's the point? Well, the point is that as humans, we set the example, and we need to set a peaceful, united, modern perspective for the children of the world. We have been on the planet for thousands of years, and we know this. And it's very impressive as a species to last as long as we have, with as much choice as we have. Oh, there's a beautiful robin on my fence over there. Reminds me of my mom. My mom loved robins. Sorry, I digress. So regardless, I believe all of that would be intuitionally understood. Now, throughout time, we have things that are very much so understood or believed by a majority, and then they change for one reason or another. I have some examples. In Greek mythology, they believed there was a man, obviously, on top of the clouds, throwing lightning bolts down at us. The majority does understand the science there. They didn't always. We don't even entertain the concept that there is a human on top of the clouds throwing lightning bolts down at us. At one point, before we understood seizures, when people would take a seizure, the humans around them did not know what was happening. And a lot of times they would blame it on demonic forces and set that suffering human on fire. We no longer set people on fire when they're taking seizures. If we did, we'd be probably sent to jail. So we all know the difference. And thank God for our medical professionals again and all of the advancements they have made for us. At one point, there was a lot of suffering over skin color, and without going on too much about it, we all know the difference. The trees in China don't look like the trees in Canada, and the animals in India don't look like the animals in America. The same can be said about the humans, except the animals and the plants may have different requirements from nature due to their placement on the planet, and is not the case for human beings. We all need the same vitamins, minerals, and enzymes. We all need the same care and positive guidance. But we are very much so like water. So if we are in an environment that is turning us sour, well, we just go sour. And that is exactly what humanity is experiencing right now due to our distance from nature. It does not mean worst case scenarios. And I think a lot of people have a misguided concept of what world peace actually means. 我有平安，我知道难以相信，但 I have peace. And I know that's hard to believe, but I'm going to explain it a little bit further to you. Thanks to those that can take my life effort seriously. This is not a joke to me. Having peace does not mean that you don't struggle. It means you have healthy perspectives of your struggles so you can use them in useful ways for yourself to remain peaceful with your own negativity. But you still struggle. So in that, having peace does not mean that you never get upset. It means when you do get upset, you try to assess why, understand your body is trying to tell you something. You're not always right, you're not always wrong, but you can observe whatever energy you are experiencing, and in that, develop a healthy perspective of your negativity. You're never going to be able to stop it from happening. If you're alive, the positive and the negative energies have to exist. However, much like the degree of caffeine and salt and sugar, like I go on about, just like the degree of that you put in, set your levels, you as a human within yourself experiencing these energies, you can't choose to not have negative or not have positive, but due to your own mental focus, you can expand both, and it is very much so your choice. And if you are expansive negatively within, it's very much so what's going on within you. You may have a clinical issue, and they do exist, thank God again for our medical field, but you have to be honest. You may not need medication or a medical professional to help correct your negativity within. It may very much so just be a case of you facing up to yourself. I think it may be obvious, but my inner child is quite harsh on me. But I remember giving that harsh child to other humans, and I completely understand why they reacted the way they did, now that I've taken responsibility for myself. And before doing that, my physical health was already top-notch due to my health studies. But once I discovered that, and I discovered my own honesty towards all of these concepts, and I accepted them, well, it was in the final stage of accepting my mental health that allowed me to connect the dots and rediscover my spiritual health. So in that, all three of those degrees of health for you as a human being have to be balanced by you as the human being. And if you see other human beings around, or you have other human beings around that are not lifting you up or not making you feel appreciated, well, you don't have to hurt them. You don't have to feel bitter towards them because it's not about them. It's about you. So in that, you have to just focus on you and lift yourself up. And on your way, you will find people that appreciate you more. And you don't have to step on the people that don't appreciate you because most people will not. It doesn't matter how famous you think an individual is. There's always more humans on the planet that don't like them that do. There's actually the most that don't even know who they are in most cases. But it's just the case, and you need to be able to remain broad in your mind. I feel like this is a strong time for us to drop a lot of borders in reference to our mental, physical, and spiritual health. Not dropping borders meaning we all have to think the same, but dropping the defensiveness of the differences. I'm going to wrap up this conversation for now, largely because I think it went well. I can't edit anymore, so it's going to call it a video. But I do appreciate everyone's maturity in receiving my information. I hope you can apply this information to your own life and help you discover a more peaceful lifestyle for yourself and your children. I have some things I need to do today. I'll be back online as soon as possible. Thank you very much to all those enjoying my music. I'm happy to give it to whoever wants to listen to it. I am still making time for that new music video. I'm not sure if I'm going to post, but I'm going through a lot here on my own, and it's hard to really focus as much time in that as I would like to with the things I need to do for my physical reality right now, because we all know we are the working poor. So there's not really much time for me, but I'm happy to use whatever time I can to connect with other individuals and help us develop world peace in my own degree. Thank God for my life. Thank God for your life. 我必须去，我爱你们，对所有人的和平与爱。再次感谢上帝，在